What's something your teacher said to you that changed your life? When Ms. Taylor leaned in and whispered, "You'll never amount to anything." She was my ninth grade English teacher, and she loved to use my Tourette's to make me feel like I didn't belong. I was diagnosed at age 10, and I'd spent my whole childhood trying to keep my diagnosis hidden, just so I could feel like a normal kid with friends. I had always done a good job at it, but when high school started, my mom forced me to tell all my teachers in case there was an emergency. That was the start of it all. Other teachers didn't mind, but when I told Ms. Taylor, she burst out laughing. "Want my advice, kid? You should focus less on following trends and more on studying." I stared at her blankly. She continued, "Welcome to the real world. Not everyone's gonna give an F about your quirks." I felt my face burning up with embarrassment, so I just nodded my head until she finally stopped talking. I went home that day crying my eyes out, and my mom held me. She promised to go to school administration and have her fired. The next morning, we sat in front of the principal and explained everything. He had a white beard, beady eyes, and a Nokia phone. When we were finished, he started banging his fist on the desk. "You really expect me to get mad over this?" he exclaimed while laughing like a pig. "Get the F out of my office. You need to learn to grow a pair." And maybe if my mom could afford a lawyer, we would have been able to sue, but we couldn't. So instead, I lied to her. I went home that day and told my mom that Ms. Taylor had a change of heart, and my mom pretended to believe me. It was easier that way, because the truth is, English became my least favorite class of all time. Ms. Taylor took every opportunity to scrutinize me. If my shoulder jerked during a test, she'd stare at me and say, "Stop embarrassing yourself." If I made a clicking sound while she was in the middle of teaching, she'd completely stop the lesson and bury her face in her hands for 5 minutes straight. And, unlike autism, tics are almost impossible to mask. As soon as I get the urge to do something like bark like a dog, I feel a painful knot in my stomach getting tighter and tighter like a rope around my neck. But because of Ms. Taylor, I started suppressing harder than I ever had before. By the end of each day, my whole body ached from holding everything in. I couldn't even sit through a class without collapsing onto the desk and falling asleep. I just wanted to prove that I was strong. Then, one day, things went completely sideways. It was the middle of a test, and I'd spent the last 20 minutes desperately trying to suppress a tic that felt like a firecracker building in my chest. My whole body was shaking, sweat dripping down my forehead, and I was gripping the edge of my desk like it was the only thing keeping me alive. Ms. Taylor noticed immediately. She stood up and marched over, her heels clicking sharply against the tile floor. She bent down, leaned in way too close, and whispered just loud enough for everyone to hear, "This is exactly why you'll never amount to anything." That was it, I snapped. Before I even realized what was happening, my tic erupted, loud and uncontrollable. "Fuck, fuck, bitch, shit, bitch, woof, woof, fuck." Kids around me either burst into laughter or stared in shock, their eyes wide with secondhand embarrassment. But to my surprise, Ms. Taylor didn't yell at me. In fact, she didn't say anything. She took out a pair of headphones from behind her desk, gesturing for me to play the sensory music that helps me regulate. Something felt off, but I just wanted my tics to end. But the second I put them on, I knew I'd made a terrible mistake, because what played wasn't the steady rhythms I needed. It was chaos. Sudden shrieking noises and irregular beats. It felt like someone was scraping my bones with their nails. My body reacted instantly. Every tic I'd been suppressing exploded out at once. My arms jerked violently, and my head snapped back, and these loud vocal tics I'd never even had before ripped out of my throat. I tried to pull the earbuds out, but my hands were jerking too badly to grab them. The class was completely silent in shock, except for Ms. Taylor, who was laughing and shrieking about how good my performance was. The rest of the day was a blur, and next thing I knew, I was waking up in the hospital surrounded by nurses. Turns out, I had banged my skull against the wall so hard that I had given myself a concussion. I woke up to my mom in tears. She told me that Ms. Taylor admitted to playing sounds specifically designed to trigger tics, because she wanted to prove it was something I could get over. And while I reassured my mom that I was okay, rage boiled my blood. I knew I had to make Ms. Taylor pay. Full story on channel, link below.